beautiful rainy day in the city of Lagos, and you're watching Make the Buzz, brought to you by ConnectNigeria.com. I still remain your humble host, William Tizomba, and today on the program we shall be talking about generational business. It's one culture that is not readily seen here in Nigeria. Well, don't worry, on the program today we shall be talking to one brand that has managed to run a successful generational business. You might be wondering who my guest today is. Well, don't worry, sit back, relax. After this time out, I shall be unveiling my guest today. You're watching Meet the Boss. We shall be right back after this time out.
Looking for the best events? Log on to connectnigeria.com.
Welcome back to the show Meet the Boss, brought to you by ConnectNigeria.com. I did tell you before that short break that today on the program we shall be talking to one brand that has managed over the years to run a successful generational business. Well, join me as I welcome to the program today the person of Amma Peters, the CEO of the brand known as Visions Opticals. Amma, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Connect
Good.
Nigeria.
Good. And I also you have a beautiful office here, all shades of white and all. I like
Thank
it.
Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you.
Now, usually when I start this program, I like my guests doing us the honors of reintroducing themselves to the viewers back home, so that, as the proverbial saying goes, you hear it from the horse's mouth. So please let the viewers back home know who you are and the brand you represent.
My name is Amma Peters once again, and I am the CEO at Visions Opticals Nigeria. And what we do is we provide optical services to everyone. So that's eye tests, glasses, and sunglasses, and anything eye related. My background, so I studied philosophy and politics.
Yeah.
And I went on to do a master's in ethnic and racial studies, which was very exciting. And then I worked in the city at Goldman Sachs in investment management. So that was really exciting.
Diverse background.
Extremely diverse.
Okay.
And as you mentioned earlier, what happens in a generational business, you come back and work for your family business. And I did that a couple of years into my career at Goldman, and I moved to Lagos, and I started working at Visions Opticals.
Interesting. Now let me go back. I mean, the background is really diverse from what you presently do. So at what point in your career did you say, oh look, I think it's high time I go back home and support? Or let's even start with, give us a bit of background behind the brand itself. Then we'll now come gradually to how you, at what point did you decide to jump in on it?
Okay, so the brand story. In 1989, Visions Opticals was opened in and it was called Top C Optics in Ikeja, in Okwebi. And I grew up on the floor of Top C Optics, loved glasses, knew everything about the store, and it was my after school day trip every single day of my life. Fast forward to when we rebranded in 2001, and we were called Visions Opticals, and we became a location that was opened across different malls in Nigeria. Because at that time in Nigeria, the real estate market was opening up and malls were popping up. So we were in City Mall, Mega Plaza, Adebola Shopping Mall in GRA, and then when the Palms opened, we opened here as well. We started off as a one-store brand, and at our height, we had 4 locations.
Fantastic. So, 1989.
Yes.
Man, that's a while now. I mean, a child born in 1989 is already a full-grown adult right about now. So, how has it been? How has the journey been for the brand? Who started the brand?
I guess the most important part of this brand is my mother, and she was an ophthalmologist, so a real visionary. So she was an eye doctor, first of all being a regular doctor, because most people don't understand it. She was a medical doctor first, and then she specialized in ophthalmology, which meant she could do eye surgeries and so on. But then she was really passionate about eyewear and fashion and the optometry side of things. So that's why she set up her practice, which initially did lots of eye surgeries and really exciting things. But today we are now slightly different, and we focus more on glasses and the optometry aspect. So that's the heritage of the brand, from a very medical to a more sort of optometric specific practice. So that's who we are.
Fantastic. Now let's talk a bit more about challenges. I mean, we all know Nigeria is a peculiar marketplace, and just like every other society, Nigeria has its unique peculiarities when it comes to setting up a business. So, can you share some of the numerous? I mean, there's no doubt there will be numerous. So, share some of the challenges that the brand has faced over the years.
Very, very good question, and it's a very good succession question as well. So historically as well, understanding Nigeria and understanding how businesses operated, if you were a medical practitioner, you had to set up your business legally as a business name because it was reporting to you and you were the person registered with a particular council, and in that case it was the Optometrist Association Ophthalmological Association of Nigeria, which we are still regulated by today because of our heritage. But with the passing of the founder, and in terms of succession, then we had to become slightly different as an organization, which meant we had to become a limited liability company with a board, with an ophthalmologist always present on the board. So the structure of the company had to change. And in terms of everybody else who has a business that is going to go from one generation to the next, it's really important to understand structures and plan for structural changes in the future. So we experienced that. So that was, I suppose, a nuance we had to learn, and we learned it with life happening. We didn't exactly plan for it. So everybody listening to this now can plan for that, especially with the death of a founder, or the sort of unexpected death of the founder. So the business also went through that process. But learned through the process. So
fantastic. Now let's talk a bit more about this whole concept of generational change, generational business. It's a culture that does not fully resonate here in Nigeria. I mean, you see lots of businesses spring up after 3 years, 5 years, it fizzles away. Especially when you have situations where the founder, sadly, is no longer around to continue the business. What would you say, from your experience being with this brand, what would you say to many of the other businesses here in Nigeria as regards to running a successful generational brand?
I guess the first thing I'd say is, of course, I had a fantastic mother, CEO, and business founder. And what she did, unlike many other people, was she brought her children into the business. So even though we were all in different industries, we had conversations about Vision of Opticals, because Vision of Opticals was very central to our lives. We would go on different optical shows in different parts of the world. Wherever I was working, I would fly in to go where she needed to go. So by default, over the years, I had learned about the business. Whether it was, you can argue whether it was intentional or whether it wasn't, but by default, by the time I made the decision to start working in the business, I was already familiar with key suppliers, key brands, and different aspects of the business. Second thing I would say, the founder has a large role to play in sort of getting buy-in from the next generation. And the second thing I would say is process. So my mother was very, very detailed. She kept records of every single thing. And I think that is very it has gone to this generation, because we know that the key thing for us as a brand is process. What are your standard operating procedures? What can you do? You're never 100% in the real world going to follow everything to the T. But if you have guidelines which you can at least present to the next generation, then it really, really helps. But because as a society, most people are running businesses just for subsistence, it's sometimes very hard to get a buy-in from the next generation, because they just see you trying to survive. So I guess the key things I would say is being very intentional as a founder, building a brand story that gets the buy-in from your children, and then most importantly, documenting. So process.
Fantastic. Now I took on something you mentioned earlier, especially when you talked about the phase when the brand needed to rebrand a bit and adopt the present name it has now, and you had to set up a board and what have you. Now, what would you say to so many entrepreneurs out there, Nigerian entrepreneurs, that have this mindset of whatever business or venture I'm running must be owned by me 100%. I don't want external forces. It just has to be me and my family. From your experience, what would you say in regards to that?
Well, I mean, I'm a fan of family businesses, so 100%, if you can run your family business without any external influence, that's absolutely amazing. But for you to do that, you kind of need to have certain things in place. So what's your family constitution? What's your shareholders agreement? what are the legal things that support your family relationship? Because families, like countries or like people, are going to evolve.
True.
Right? So
True.
the key thing is, regardless of the decision you make, because I truly believe that any business, regardless of the structure, can flourish, but there has to be a reason why. So if you've made your reason to be 100% family, that's absolutely fine. But what are the guiding principles of your shared interest and shared values, which should be timeless, right? So once you document that, it should be absolutely fine.
Okay.
When you have an external member who is not in the family, what you get is advice. What you get is a third eye, kind of looking at things from the outside, because once again, families mostly have the same background, so they're more likely to have the same outlook.
The same mindset.
So having someone who is not a family member is very important, sometimes just to help you reorient,
yeah. That's the cake, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in our case, obviously, we have someone with vast experience in the industry and is a medical practitioner. That for us is also very, very significant.
Oh, great. Now, let's still go back and talk a bit more about Mommy, the founder of the brand. Now, how would you say, even though you touched a bit about it, but let's now be a bit more specific, how would you say all those years of rolling with your mom, how did all those successfully rub off on you in a very good way, as a stain, as a permanent stain that you couldn't remove, and even with all the financial background and escapade, you still found yourself coming back and accepting your fate, so to speak?
Okay, so I didn't do a formal introduction. So my mom's name is Dr. Bosse Peters.
Okay.
And she was super intelligent, right? So she was a really smart doctor, and she kind of knew her numbers, and she was very good. So when I started working with her about, I think it was 13 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we worked together for about 7 years together. So that was great. So we started making joint decisions about things. But what happens, especially when people who are outside the business come in, is you come in with a bit of, I will call it a savior complex. So you're there, you've seen your parents subsisting, and you're like, I've come to transform the business, and I'm going to take it to the next level. But the most fantastic thing about it is you have no clue about A, in my case, doing business in Nigeria, and B, understanding people and fully getting an understanding of the business from end to end. And for me, it was, the first few years were many failures. So I would advise that anyone who is a mother like mine, let your children express themselves within your business, because you're not going to be the same. I'm not a medical practitioner, so I'm coming in from a very different angle.
True.
But if I wasn't able to fail with, trying to bring technology and it not working out, looking at different software, but just being allowed to express who I was in the business, I think was very, very good. And as you can see, sort of 13 years later, we finally have the right technology. But it did take over a decade, but it was a lot of trial and error. The second thing as well with the family business is a lot of these conversations may also happen over dinner. I don't advise that, because we always talk about the good bits, but the messy bits are having arguments and not having a regular family dinner because you want to sort out things that are going on in work. So after a while, we figured that if there was an important thing we had to talk about, we would do it by email.
Okay.
Because email is easier, and you can get your points across, and it can be clearer. So once again, you have to create a system that is actually beneficial to you both, and in your sort of, I wouldn't say love language, but your business language, so that you are always communicating.
Very true.
And that's very, very important.
Very true. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now let me pick you on something that has to do with the whole generational period from the inception to date, that might have some of the trends that would have happened as things were going, including technology that you mentioned earlier. But I think at this point we'll go on a break, and when we come back, we'll pick up the discussion from the technology aspect of running a business. Okay?
Fantastic.
Technology, they say, is the present and the future, so we'll look at how the brand itself has used technology to get to where they are today. So stay tuned, don't go nowhere. We shall be right back after this time.
Looking for the best events? Log on to connectnigeria.com.
Welcome back to the second half of today's interview on Meet the Boss, brought to you by connectnigeria.com. And my guest is still Amma Peters, the CEO of the brand known as Visions Opticals. Amma, welcome to the second half of today's interview. And I must say it's been an interesting one so far. That's why the whole talk of your founder, mommy, and all that. I mean, very nice, very nice. Now, before that break, I did mention that when we come back, we will explore the area of technology and how it has helped your brand over the years. I mean, 1989, there's no two ways about it. Technology had not gotten to where it, even half of what it is today. So how would you say technology has helped your brand since from 1989 to date to get to where it is today?
So technology at Visions Opticals has evolved like so much over the years. So I'll rewind, as you always we like to talk about mommy and what we did.
1989.
So, 1989. So in 1989 we had what was then a state-of-the-art microscope. I remember that from like so many years back, and it helped with what would have been cataract surgeries at the time, which obviously we no longer do today. So that was the start into our foray as being women in tech. Fast forward to a couple of months before Mom died, we invested in this awesome technological device which helps us with our glazing. So when you get a pair of glasses, you get lenses, and what goes into them has to be cut. And in 90% of the practices in Nigeria today, it's cut by hand. But we invested in technology at the time, and it's a lovely machine called Mr. Orange, and it cuts thousands and thousands of lenses for us. So that was a very fantastic technological investment. And what else helps us here today? So many things. We're fully women in tech. We found the right software after many iterations in terms of our practice management, and that really helps us with our workflows, our reminders to clients, and also data security, because everything sort of links in. So once again, when you have a generational business, how do you attract the next generation? And we all know technology is the greatest way. So you can be whoever you want to be in your family business, because there's so many different aspects of it. So bringing us here today full circle, the most exciting part of the business is lens technology. So for me, that's the area that I completely loved. So, I'll be talking, these are conversations with my mom, and I'm like, the lenses can be better. People are coming back saying their coatings are coming off. What can we do? We need to find the right technology. And we kept looking and looking and looking. And today, we are able to dispense the best technology in the world to Nigeria first, because we've built so many fantastic relationships over the years with really global brands that actually focus on lens technology. So the pair of lenses I'm wearing now is basically called a Smart Life lens, and how it was developed was that someone literally was walking around with a camera on their glasses to figure out all the different eye movements. So these lenses are sort of based on what you'll be doing with your eyes if you're like 20 to 30, 30 to 40, or 40 to 50. And when we order the lenses for our patients on a daily basis, we will put in their date of birth, and this smart technology is basically adapting your eyes for your lifestyle today. 30 or 40 years ago, everybody used to read newspapers. Now people read newspapers on their phones or on their tablets, they're looking at screens all the time. How has your lens technology adapted to suit your lifestyle? And these are things we look at. These are things we invest in. There are some machines in the practice that we saw about 5 or 10 years ago that have augmented reality and virtual reality. We saw them, we visualized them, and they are in Visions today. So, Visions stems from a visionary founder. We love vision in terms of technology, and we are visionary in terms of where we want to take our brand.
The future.
And exactly. And so for the third generation, it's very important because they have to see that vision and they have to buy into the vision. Otherwise, there's not going to be succession.
They'll lose interest.
Exactly.
Very true. Very true. Now, let's bring it home a bit and talk about those who work with you, your staff strength, your colleagues. How important would you say it is for a business, for a brand to succeed, to have viable hands to help run the business?
So that's the thing. It's a really good question. So I've spoken about our technology and how far we've gone and all the things we've seen. So I'll first take it back to Mr. Orange. When we were investing in it, we figured we're going to bring this new piece of technology, but our technician has only worked manually. Who's going to use it? Yeah. So definitely he had to. And at that time, the brand that we worked with were like, well, we can't come to Nigeria. We're not sure about security. So our technician had to go for training with then a brand outside of Nigeria, and we had to train him on how to use the software, which he uses today. And similarly, last year we went with the whole team to Zeiss, one of the brands we work really well. We're great partners with them, and we were able to visualize different things before they came to the store. So a lot of technology you're going to see in the store today, we also last year in November, we played around with it. We asked loads of questions because the key thing about your staff is everybody just wants more information, and once they're more knowledgeable about the brand and knowledgeable about global technology and your industry, because every business, regardless of what it is, has competitors, and your competitors are global because everyone is literally sitting on a device. And you can order anything or get most services from the touch of your finger. So the only way to compete is to be aware that, oh wow, we are an optician, but we're an optician that has competitors in Dubai, in France, next door to us, in VI, in Oniru, in every single place. So for us to be different, we have to know why we're different, and we need you as a team to see that process.
Very true.
So my sister, Toxie, and myself really figure that this is what our strength will be. So we have to grow with our team.
Fantastic. Well said. Now let me also ask you this other question as a follow-up. The brand name itself, Visions, which in your last one of your last questions, you shared some very good insight as to why you guys adopted that name, Vision. Where would you say you draw your inspiration, your vision to keep doing what you're doing, and taking the brand to where it's headed?
So once again, I love all your questions. They're actually really good. But every brand, like we do, has to create a shared experience and a shared vision. And for us, we enshrine that in what we call our big, hairy, audacious goal.
Oh, okay.
So our bag is focused on creating an unforgettable customer experience through a luxury eye care and eyewear delivery, delivered through the best technology. So for us, that is our big, hairy, audacious goal, which we all know as a team. And we want to each day deliver that unforgettable customer experience. We know technology is very core to what we do, and we know that we are the luxury destination for eye care and eyewear. So that guides a lot of our decisions, processes, and interaction with our fantastic set of clients.
Yeah, great. So how would you rate your staffs, members of your staff? How would you rate them?
Well, I mean, it's unfair for me to rate them. You can only be rated by the clients that continually come, or the clients that have come back for 30 plus years.
Amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
So that's I'm going to leave it like that. Because I think it's very important. So a key thing about a generational business, or how you would judge a generational business, is client loyalty. Because who is my boss? My boss is each and every one of you that come in contact with my brand. So it's all the clients that I really, really thank for support, encouragement, advice, support. Like your clients become your network, and they become your net worth as well.
Very true.
So that's our story here at Visual
Very
Opticals.
true, very true. Now we're fast coming to the home stretch for today's interview, where I still have one or two more questions to throw in before we call today's interview wrap. And my next question will be, Visions Opticals, where would you want to see the brand, say, within the next 3 to 5 years?
Interesting question. I always say this, I should stop saying this. But for us, we are choosing to go a very different path.
Okay.
And it's a path of vertical integration.
Okay.
Most people would probably say, they want to see us in every single mall across the country. That's not our vision. It might change, but what our vision is to be able to respond quicker to our client demands. An aspect of our business is very sort of import driven. So we have to rely on timelines, we have to rely on logistics. But for us, the key thing is moving everything home. So we want to be able to use the latest technology to deliver the best lens technology in Nigeria, obviously to ourselves at Visions Opticals and to other opticians across the country. So that's our, sort of 3 to 5 year plan.
That's a good one. Now, in a final note, pretty much my last question would fall around Nigeria as a country and its peculiarity. What would you say, or how would you, from your experience running this brand and being part of this brand from inception since 1989, what would you say the government from both state and federal level can do to help businesses, run successfully in Nigeria? I mean, every now and then we hear startups, SMEs complain about these and that and this and that. What would be your own kind of words of advice to the government as to how they can help both brands like yourself and numerous other brands out there to succeed well here in Nigeria?
Interesting. The government and healthcare. I guess the government and healthcare work hand in hand.
True.
And a key thing the government can do is, which they are doing, is invest in more technology. I know I always focus on technology, but streamlining processes, streamlining payments for local government, federal government,
the state,
fees, every single layer of government bureaucracy you have to deal with. If we had more technology and we could just upload things ourselves,
seamlessly,
it would be a lot more seamless. But it's hard because we are a country that has a huge population. So even if it works in a particular region, or even if it works in Etiosa local government, it might not work exactly. And because of that, our other location is in GR. Because of that, you might not be able to have that seamless flow, and then it becomes frustrating for the people within the government agencies themselves and for us. So it's a gradual, continuous process. And for healthcare practitioners, you do have to spend a bit of time with the government, understanding their processes and also understanding where you can add value. Because at the end of the day, even though we focus on luxury, we also have to give back to our immediate community. So it's a partnership, and it has to be an ongoing partnership, is what I would say. But if there's any way we can definitely add value to doing things better across the state, of course, we love to, and across the country, because we have so much that we can share.
Fantastic. Now I'm tempted to throw this final question in. I do it a lot. I'm tempted. Now in very quick succession, just give your final words of advice to other brand owners out there who will be watching today's interview. Encourage them. Just look at that camera and give them some final words of advice.
Okay, I'm going to encourage you with words from my mother. And what she taught us to do was to dream. And she'd be like, don't you have a dream? Because if you can dream it, the truth is you can do it. So I would advise whoever you are, whatever your business is, if you're an entrepreneur, dream. Document your dream, and as it visualizes, have a lot of gratitude for what you've done. Set out your milestones, build a history of your brand from wherever you are today, so that anytime anyone has any interaction with your brand and your brand story, they can see that vision that you're trying to bring to light. And you find so many helpers along the way, and then everything will come together, and it's continuously evolving. It's like almost the never-ending story. So, fantastic. Best of luck to all of you. We need lots of luck ourselves as we continue on this journey of entrepreneurship in Nigeria.
Fantastic. I couldn't have said it any better. Amma, it's been lovely having you on the program today, and we've learned a whole lot from your brand and the wonderful story behind the brand, and we wish you guys all the best. And we'll do it we'll continue to monitor what you guys do, and from time to time we'll do our best to report on it.
Thank you. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, viewers, you've heard it all from my guest today, Amma Peters, the CEO of the brand known as Visions Optical. And what an interview it's been today. And today we decided to look a bit into generational business, and that's why from our interaction, you would have been hearing lots about the founder, money, and how the business in itself has evolved up to the point where my guest today decided to join the brand. So I want to believe you all learned a thing or two from today's interview. And remember, you can always watch the post-production of today's interview on our YouTube page. Just go to YouTube, Connect Nigeria, and you see this interview and all the numerous interviews we've had on the show. And you can always follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's Connect Nigeria, one word, Connect Nigeria. And if you want to follow my humble self, I still remain Williams Zomba across all platforms. And as I always say on this program, if you want to see someone interesting, just drop us a message or two, and we'll do our best to bring that person your way. So until we come your way, same station, same time next week. As I always say on this program, continue to keep a positive mind, and the sky might just be the beginning of your success. Bye, guys.
Looking for the best events? Log on to connectnigeria.com.